Well, it's about 2:45 in the morning, and I'm up and dressed and getting ready, just having a cup of tea. And then I have about a half an hour drive to Petaluma to go pick up Paul Hobbs, who's going to take my truck for me. And so that's going to be an extra hour to my day, but I'm very grateful to have Paul's help. And looking forward to it, I guess. There's a little bit of a breeze this morning, which is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully it's going to hold over the next hour or so until I get going.
Turn right onto California 121 South, Highway 12 West.
The first launch is always the big one. For those of you who watch the Coast to Coast know that the first launch was a little scary last time, and we don't have any of those problems this time, so it should look good. And with some luck, in about 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'll be landing in Placerville. Probably do a quick update then, and I want a quick turnaround so that I can get airborne and get over Tahoe as early as possible today. So there it is. It's a very aggressive goal to get to Winnemucca. I think it's nearly 370 miles, which is kind of beyond what I think is achievable today, but we're going to give it a best shot. Placerville Airport, and I made it in the 2 hours and 5 minutes that I thought it would take. So I've already loaded up my fuel, and I'm just about to take a bathroom break, drink some water, and then try and get underway again so that I'm airborne by about 7:30. So about 30 minutes ahead of schedule right now, but this next leg is the one that really matters today, and hopefully I make it pretty successfully over. I'm hoping this wind that I see on these flags here sticks around, because when I landed there was basically very little wind. And hopefully it all goes this next launch goes smoothly. I'm carrying a little bit more fuel. Last time I loaded just shy of 4 gallons, and I had about a gallon left. So I loaded just 2 gallons and change here on this last flight. So I did really well for those 2 hours. And hopefully I'll have enough gas to even bypass Minden and make it up to Carson City. So there's the update. I'll keep doing a few more and post a few pictures. Well, here we are at Derby Airfield. It's about 250 miles from Sonoma, and I had just an incredible first and second flight, really. The first flight, of course, I left Sonoma, and it was supposed to be about, 85, maybe 90 miles, but it turned into nearly 100 with little deviation around some airspace. But 100 miles in 2 hours and 8 minutes was pretty good, and loads of fuel left. And my second flight, I didn't even top it all the way up, but most of the way, and made 150 miles in 3 hours and 15 minutes. So that was pretty incredible, doing, pretty much 55 up to 60 miles an hour across the ground, and getting over Tahoe, which, stood at, just shy of 10,000, maybe 9,700. And I was able to skirt between some peaks and get over at about 9,000. Kind of what I'm worried about is all those clouds coming in from over there, and the potential of some thunderstorms this afternoon. And they're pretty late. They could be as late as 7, 8 o'clock tonight. So what's cool is almost everything is charged, and there's cold water, and I got a little trail mix that a friend of mine gave me, so that's going to keep me going till tonight. And then once I arrive in Winnemucca, I can refuel, and there's a courtesy car there for me to go into town and get some food. We'll get everything charged up again, and then hopefully another pretty early flight tomorrow. Kind of want to achieve the same thing, get 100 miles on the first flight, and if I can get 100 miles on the second flight, that'll be fantastic. And then the very last flight, I'm probably going to run into the same kind of problems that I had this morning, where it starts by as early as 9:30. It's been getting really hot and starts to get a little bit bumpy. So I was hoping to be able to stay airborne till more like 9 or 10 o'clock, but 10 o'clock I think is becoming a little bit of a stretch. So we will see. I might get lucky and maybe it'll be a bit cooler, or I'll make some really good time on those first couple flights, and then just land up with one flight late in the afternoon. For that one, I might be electing to go off-field, basically not landing in an airport, since it's possible that somebody will meet me there and bring me some fuel. And the plan is to go to a motel for the night tomorrow, and try and get some good rest, and then once again go at first light to do the big jump over Salt Lake City mountains. Definitely those are a pretty big concern for me. Tahoe was a big concern, so I was glad that went as well as it did. But I'd like to see if I can get through Salt Lake Mountains just an hour or two earlier, which is why it's really important for me to try and get there the night before. So with some luck with the off airport, I'll be closer to the mountains by about 30 miles, which will take an hour off the trip. And the goal is to go, I don't know, about 80 to 90 miles over the mountains to my first stop. And with all of those, I tend to try and keep it just a little bit more cautious. I mean, one of the reasons I got so lucky today was I was worried that I wouldn't make the altitude, and I was going to have to deviate around the mountains. And I knocked off probably 20 miles off the trip once I knew I had the altitude to go straight on over the top. And a little bit bumpy just going through over South Lake Tahoe, but nothing terrible. Most of the sort of the bumpy thermic weather came in sort of over the last half an hour as I was coming into Derby here. And while I really did want to just quickly refuel and keep going, it was getting pretty hot and thermic, and I've got to trust the other people who are keeping an eye out for me and make sure I don't overdo it. So still a huge success already today, and with some luck I'll get this last flight in this evening and do it all again tomorrow.
Alrighty, so you just got back into Utah. So we are at the causeway leading to Antelope Island in Syracuse, Utah.
Right.
And sounds like it was a pretty bumpy ride, huh?
Oh my goodness, today was the day. Yeah, lots of bad decisions, I guess.
Yeah.
Where was it? Out of Wells, everything up to Wells actually went really well.
Okay.
But then, you know, I think the note to self is this: the straightest path isn't necessarily the fastest path.
Definitely.
And you know, my plan originally was to always follow I-80 from there, because at least then you have an out, and if you drop out. But you know, I've been going pretty big with this quite a bit.
Massive.
And so I thought I'd go straight and forgot about the mountain on the other side. Not one,
Yeah.
but two.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a few mountains sitting around here.
So yeah, on the second, maybe it was the first one, I realized I wasn't going to make it over, so I was trying to use the uplift off the mountain to try and get me some altitude.
Very cool.
Finally got over that one, and then saw another one and went like, oh goodness. If I just stayed on I-80 and just followed it straight down, it would have been quicker. I would have saved 45 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And on top of that, I would have got launched much quicker before the rain came in.
Definitely.
So the full flight was pretty cool in terms of, you know, I have radar in it, so I can actually see the storms, and I can try and fly around them.
Very cool.
Yeah, a whole hour of it was
Pretty rough.
Yeah.
I was going to say, sitting down here on the ground, we were getting an average of 15 to 25 mile-an-hour gusts.
right.
It was just not looking good. So good to have you here.
Thank you.
Glad you made it down safe, got through the rain and all
Yeah.
that crazy stuff.
Yeah, and across the 15 miles of water, right?
15 miles of water. Yeah, not a small stretch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the note to self really is, you know, when I plan these things, I try and plan them as safely as possible.
Absolutely.
And I tried to cut 15 miles off, which I had the fuel. I didn't need to cut 15 miles off. I could have made it a much more enjoyable flight and a much easier flight had I stayed along 80 and then come all the way up here.
Mhm.
Would have been a little slower because of the direction of the wind, but you wouldn't have had all that risk involved. So
Absolutely.
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do what he did. But if you do it right.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I mean, I feel great about it, but on the flip side, you know, nobody needs that kind of pressure and stress.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for talking.
Thanks.
As you can tell, I'm kind of out of breath, and the news is not good.